What's up, everybody? It is Saturday, January 28th. What the hell? How the hell is it January 28th? Didn't the year just start? This is crazy. Anyways, welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. I got a bunch of people in the chat already, so I appreciate your support. Because, I don't schedule anything. I can't stick to a schedule. I wish I could. I wish I could stick to a schedule, but I can't. I don't know why. I've tried it before, but you know what we're gonna do? All right, first of all, I've got this, I got this voicemail thing where you can leave me a voicemail. When I don't tell people to do it, they don't do it. It's weird. It's like, oh, by the way, I'm using the weird NVIDIA eye thing on this stream, so if it looks super goofy, now it's all you're gonna look at. I want to try it out. So I heard when people said if you wear a hat, it'll like sometimes put your eyeballs on your hat and stuff. So I'm testing it out. If it's goofy, I'm letting you know up front. So if something happens, but now all you're going to be doing is fixated on my eyes. But let's test it really quick. So hold on. Is it doing anything weird? Yeah, see, look right there. Look at it. It's all, it makes you look like a serial killer. All right. Right now I'm reading. All right, I'm going to look straight, but I'm going to look to the side. So I'm reading this thing that's in my hand. So my eyes are not looking at you right now. So I don't know if it's looking straight, then that's freaky as hell because I'm looking down here. Anyways, it's probably weird, but let me know if you let me know in the chat if you think it's goofy. I'm just gonna get caught up here. Is it weird? I don't know. Oh, I don't know what the is it Serena Plays? There's a $5 super chat. It didn't come through as a super chat. That's weird, but thank you so much. It just says super chat 5, but it didn't come through to me as a normal super chat. I appreciate that though. Say something next time. We got a super chat from Stringer Films and says, "Is this live? I thought you were dead." I'm alive. I'm alive and well. Thank you for the concern. As friends, I should be a little concerned because you haven't texted me and said, "Are you dead?" But it's just AI Retro Ralph. Yeah, right? I know. That'd be kind of interesting. I bet there'll be a point where you won't know whether AI is on the stream with you or... Yeah, it makes my eyes look kind of big. I don't know why. It's a little bit weird. I might shut it off. We'll see. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is we're just going to go straight to voicemails first because I thought that'd be fun to do. So I'm going to kill the music. We're going to go straight to voicemails because we only have 3 of them. But if you want to leave a voicemail, do that. I will play it on the show. It's right down here. That's the link right here. It's SpeakPipe. I don't know why that's funny to me. SpeakPipe.com/retro Ralph VM. I was like, shit, I forgot what it was. Yeah. But anyways, so you're probably wondering why am I doing this on a Saturday? So I'm doing it for 1 because I miss you guys, and 2 because I haven't had any other time to do it. So it's one of those things where I don't know if if the eyes are looking at you now, that'd be really weird because I'm looking way over here. All right, so what I'm going to do is we'll play the first voicemail. I have no idea what order these are in. I don't even know which ones these are because I don't remember which ones we did or didn't play. So we're going to play through them and see what's up. But remember, if you want to leave a voicemail, you can do that. There's a link in the description of the video, or I'll keep this down here just for a minute. Just for a little bit. We'll keep that down there just in case anybody wants to leave a voicemail. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what's going on here. Here's the first one.
Yes. Hi. I'm calling in regards to your adult arcade listing on Craigslist. I have a few questions.
Okay.
If I want to know if it comes with a riser. I would assume it would come with a riser since you listed it with the BOE monitor, which, as we all know, in the business means big old erection.
Oh, wow.
So I assume a riser is included. Oh, and shots fired. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Wow. Well, there's a lot to unpack in that voicemail. So he said BOE stands for big old, I'm not even going to say it on the show, boner I'll use. Wow. Well, we're going to go to the next one. I don't really have a whole lot of comments on that. I don't really know what to say. All right, we'll go to the next one. I will get to the chat here in a second, but I'm going to go to the next voicemail and see what's going on. Maybe.
Hey, Ralph.
Okay.
I love the show you did, the last show you did about not letting your hobby take over the house and being respectful of people you live with and so forth. Um, you know,
And that is really important, right? I really do mean that. I don't, it's funny because nowadays when you share your opinion on anything, people think you're trying to tell everybody else what to do. For me personally, I do think that, and this is just my opinion, right? I do think that if you have a hobby and other people in the house don't maybe share that hobby or whatever, just out of respect for them, it should be under control, right? Keep it to your area. It's just being respectful to the other people that you share your house with, whether it be a wife, a girlfriend, a partner, whatever. I just think that that's just a respectful thing to do. But that's just me, right? Some people might not care. But for me, I think to have a happy household, kind of got to keep that stuff in check.
I have both myself and my wife have relatives. I have a great aunt. She has a mother who are the kind of hoarders that, like, my great aunt kept National Geographics from like the
Oh my
60s and
God.
70s. My mother-in-law had those America Online discs they used to like give you in the mail back when that was a thing. This
No
was
way.
2017. That kind of hoarding, that definitely is a mental illness. If you let a hobby that you can make money off of, you can fix up those arcades and sell them. I think that's a little less crazy because it's just something a little more productive that you're hoarding, but you want to respect your wife and all that. But yeah, that's hoarding. If you got America Online disc from or Windows 95, yeah, she had some Windows 95 ones as well. But anyway, love the content. And in conclusion, I just like to say, timber.
Okay, first of all, Chad's awesome. Second of all, there's a lot in that voicemail. So number one, he mentioned National Geographic. Do you guys remember National Geographic magazine? I'll tell you something. This is gonna be somewhat inappropriate, but I remember as a kid opening up National Geographic and seeing like boobs for the first time, because it would be like some village in Africa or something where that would be normal to dress that way. And I was like, oh, Mom, we need a prescription. We need a subscription to National Geographic, like every single one. No. All right. I'm just kidding. I don't want to seem gross, but when you're a little kid, that excites you. You've never seen that stuff before. I don't know. It's just what happens. Anyways, you guys are going to think I'm weird now, but okay. So the National Geographic, I do remember like, my grandfather had a lot of National Geographic magazines. And I remember him, I don't think he hoarded them, but he did have a lot. But those were pretty like actually cool magazines. Like for what, I don't know what that used to cost to have a subscription to that, but they were actually like really well done, if I remember right. Anyways, it seems like either you guys don't want to admit it in the chat or whatever. Oh wait, is it not making me blink? Okay, if it's not blinking, then I'm really gonna get, I feel like it's weird. Oh God, look, my eye is on my hand. Ah! I need to shut it off. I don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me look. I'd rather just, it was though. It was, do you guys just see that? My eye was on my hand. Okay. The other thing he said was, okay, if your hobby is making I know it is creepy. I think I might I'm going to shut it off. I don't know if I can shut it off though, so when you enable this feature, not that you guys care, but when you enable this feature, you basically select your camera and then it creates a new camera. It's like a virtual camera. It creates one called NVIDIA Broadcast. And so you're no longer using your native camera. You're using, because it's processing your camera feed through their software to do this little eye goofy thing. But anyways, all right, Stringer says, I hear Madonna was in National Geographic once. So he's referring to, thank you for the super chat. He's referring to, I told the story a long time ago when I was in high school. My sister had the Madonna sex book and how it was just a bunch of pictures of Madonna being like extra provocative or whatever. And I remember like, I was a kid and I remember crawling into a room to steal it. Anyways, to look at it. But I mean, it was like one of those things. It was taboo. I wanted to check it out, A camera over a camera. Yeah. Oh, I want to talk about something that's really funny. So Mason's supposed to come here. I've been talking about how I haven't really had as much time because of the job and stuff. And Mason's supposed to come here and film. And it's funny because you guys know this. Everyone here probably in the chat is around my age in their 40s. And it's funny, like I really came down with a pretty bad cold over the past couple of days, and I haven't been feeling good. Like especially at night, like around like 3-4 o'clock at night, I've just been falling asleep. And if I don't wake myself up, I've just been falling asleep for the whole night. And it was funny because Kim came in to I was doing these for work. I have to do these employee reviews, and I had my laptop, and they're just long, man. And you want to make sure like that you put adequate, like good feedback in there, because I want to make sure that the people took the time to do it. I want to take the time to review it. And she said she came down, and I fell asleep. And I remember, because I woke up this way, I had the laptop had kind of like fallen over, and it was like pinching in between my fingers. And this is weird. She said I was sleeping with she said my tongue was like that. And I was sleeping with my tongue out, biting my tongue. I was like, dude, if I came up on you and you were sleeping, biting your tongue, that would have been like freaky. But anyways, where I was going with that is when you tell someone that's 25, like Mason, you're sick, it doesn't mean anything. Because when you're 25, you don't give a shit. It's like you recover from stuff in like 24 hours. But I'm like, bro, I feel like going like, he just doesn't understand. And this is just because of his age. I could be like, bro, I'm like 43. I'm going to be 44. Like, you don't just recover in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? You just don't. When you're older, it just takes longer for everything. Like, everything starts taking longer. I'm not saying I'm some old man, but like, I'm middle-aged now. Like, I'm not the same. I can't like go like I used to be able to go. Like, even just having a couple of drinks. I don't drink a lot, but when we go out and just have a couple of drinks, I feel like a total, like I'm completely annihilated the next day. So anyways, I know you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. We take longer to recover. That's true, right? Is that why ladies like the older guys? Maybe, because they're like, man, after a couple drinks, they're out for the count the next day. Maybe. I don't know. Man. Yeah, I've been grading paper. No, it's not grading papers. It's basically, so every year we do a yearly review of the employees that we manage, and it takes a lot of time to do the review. And obviously, I want to do everyone, the credit that they put a lot of work into it, and I want to make sure they get the credit that they deserve too. Retro Ralph, nice Blockbuster hat, brother. I miss Blockbuster, man. Mr. Home Arcade, I miss Blockbuster too, man. It's so a buddy of mine that lives here locally, there was a Blockbuster sign, a big one for sale. It was in Los Angeles, and I'm like, man, I'm going to reach out to this guy because the price was decent. I'm going to reach out to this guy and see if he'll sell it. Because I was like, oh, man, it would look so cool in the garage, right? In GarageCade. And so I messaged him, and he's like, yeah, the thing weighs like close to 200 pounds. And I'm like, man, nowadays, if you tried to ship something that's 200 pounds, like a sign like that, it's going to be a lot of money. So I decided against it. But this price was good, but with the delivery, it wouldn't have been very good. All right, let's see. Herb Wars says, I'm 35 and always find excuses not to go do something. I'm the worst. So you know what? You bring up something interesting, Herb Wars, because I was talking to my wife about this, actually. Sometimes my wife and I, it's kind of weird. You wouldn't think this if you met me, but I have a little bit of social anxiety, like a little bit, not a ton, but a little. And but when I'm in that zone, it won't seem like I do. But I have to like break out of it. You know what I mean? Like I have to go, all right, you can do this, whatever. And you go do it. Like if it's a customer event or something for work, which I haven't done in years because I haven't had to travel, which I think that made it worse for a lot of people. But my wife has that a lot. Like Kim has a lot of social anxiety. But what her and I always say is when we force ourselves to do it, we always have a great time. But it's hard, I think, if you struggle with a little bit of that anxiety around other people and whatever. Kim has it a lot worse than me. I'd say I'm very, very minor, but it does take me a little bit to like get over that hump sometimes. And so I totally get what you're saying. But I'm sure after you go out, you have a great time, right? All right, Stringer says that's a nice looking $80 Blockbuster. It's not $80. It's not $80. By the way, if Mason is watching, I'm joking with you, but it is true. It is interesting, like generationally, like you're 25, dude. Like you could pretty much like break every bone in your body and be like, I'm good, bro. Let's do this. You know what I mean? Like when you're 25, you just recover from stuff a lot faster. Even like just going out and having a couple of casual drinks. But anyway, okay. I felt my age, 42, trying to bring in my Revenge from Mars. This thing was heavy, dude. I know when we were moving, like there's a lot of times where, Rudy will come help. And like I do move stuff myself a lot, but I feel it for the next few days. And then my Kim will give me shit. She'll be like, dude, She'd be like, I know you moved something, because she knows. She know I don't usually just typically start complaining about my back, and I'll be like, oh, my back hurts. She's like, you moved something. I heard you in the garage. You were moving stuff around. and like actually the other day I was moving. I sold my Daytona. I know it. I know but there's a I can't remember his actual name. So I'm not gonna. I'll keep his name out, but. He reached out to me on Twitter and he's like, man, he told me this really heartfelt story about Daytona USA and what it meant to his family and stuff. And the thing is, I don't know, I felt for him. I was like, man, he's like, man, I wish I had two so I could link them. And Daytona stand-ups aren't really easy to find. And I love that game, but his story really touched me. And I'm like, man, I'll sell it to you. You know what I mean? Like, even though did I really want to sell it? No, but if I can like place an arcade with someone that I know is like really going to enjoy it, then of course I would do that. So yeah. So, hey, maybe I'll find another one someday, but no big deal. But I replaced the Daytona. I already shipped it out, but I replaced the Daytona with an Outrun that I had that I haven't showed on the channel. I'm actually going to do a video of that. But, and the Outrun still has I don't know if you guys remember the original. If you've played Outrun under emulation for a long time, it's got a really aggressive shaker motor that, like when you crash, it doesn't really have force feedback in just the regular steering. It's when you crash. When you crash, it goes side to side, like as if your car is flipping over. It's actually pretty aggressive. It's pretty cool, and it does still work. So that's pretty neat. All right. My family says I make dad noises all the time from being sore. Yeah. You see, it just glitched my eyes. See, this thing is in beta, so if it looks weird, by the way, if you're just joining and you're wondering, see, I shouldn't tell everybody, because then when I tell you, all you're going to do is fixate on how my eyes look weird. But I'm using that NVIDIA broadcast software just to play with it and see how it does with the eye. So it's supposed to keep your eyes looking at the audience when you look down and read messages and stuff. It looks a little unnatural to me, if I'm being quite honest. So I think this might be the last time I use it for now, and then maybe I'll wait till it's done a little bit better. All right. Trust me, I felt every bit of 53 doing this hobby, but it's still awesome. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't stop me from doing it, that's for sure. But yeah, thanks for joining Arcade Hollywood. I appreciate you, man. All right, my boy Rusty Grill, George, aka Rusty Grill. Show that Outrun. I'm going to do a video on it soon. It's been hard to get videos out because I haven't been feeling well and everything, but we'll get to it 100%. But hey, go throw your info in the chat. So my buddy George just started a Twitch channel where he's doing a lot of Twitch streaming of modern games. He's such a good dude. The funny thing about George is I met George, so I was brand new to YouTube, right? And I had just started the channel, so it was like 2018, 2019 timeframe. I didn't even know George, but we got to know each other online. He was always like a super supporter of the channel, which I always appreciated, but we became really good friends. And I was going to go to E3. And this was like, I didn't really know anyone outside of like everyone that I knew was just people I met through the chat. And I was like, you want to go with me? And he did. And we had such a fun time. Like, he's such a good dude. It's so cool. Like, if there's one thing that's been awesome, like obviously I've been struggling a little bit with the fact that I can't make as much YouTube content because I really enjoy making it for you guys. And I enjoy that process of making it too most of the time. Like, it's therapeutic for me. I was telling Kim the other day, like making the videos themselves. It's like my release. It's like when people say they go to the gym and that makes them feel better. It releases endorphins and stuff. Like that's what it does when I film this stuff. I really enjoy it. And I try to stick with stuff I enjoy. And so it's been really tough not doing it lately because I feel like, if you don't have an outlet, like a lot of people's outlets just playing video games or doing something that's your hobby. When you don't have that outlet, you get a little grumpy, to be honest. And so I've been a little grumpy because I haven't been able to make videos. But Mason's coming out here. The goal of Mason coming out here actually is so that we're going to film a ton of videos so I can schedule a bunch of videos out for the next like couple of months while I get adjusted to this new job. And then I can get my regular cadence back. Like it means that much to me to publish these videos that I'm flying Mason out to do this. Cause I don't want the channel to, not that the channel will die, but I want people, I want to keep producing content for people. So, and with having Mason here to do it, it'll really speed things up so I can get a lot of them done so I can schedule them all out for the next couple months. All right. Impromptu live streams. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that, Encore Arcade. I appreciate that. Yeah. So check out So check out George here. It's twitch.tv/rustygrill. So definitely check him out. And he's such a nice guy. He's such a good dude. If I'm assuming most of the stuff he's doing, because when I watched the first couple of them, it's mostly modern stuff. So if you're into modern gaming, like definitely go check him out and do that. And he's a great driver too. He drives a car very well, unlike me, who's terrible at driving a car. I think I missed a super chat. Let me see. All right, my Daytona wheels will break your arm. Yeah, that's true. Those things are the Daytona. That's the unfortunate thing. If you didn't know this, the Daytona. The Daytona stand up doesn't have force feedback in it. It's kind of weird. I don't know why they did that. Like most of the Sega games, if they were in the stand up form, still had the force feedback motor. Like the Virtua Racing has it. My Outrun has it. The Afterburner has it. So I don't know why they decided to leave it out of that, but that's kind of weird that they did that. All right, let's see. Let me see what... it's all good, Ralph. I took a break on arcade game streaming since December, but I have an arcade tournament to go to today. Ready for some fun. That's awesome, man. Tell me a little bit more about your arcade tournament. Is it a fight game thing, or what is it that you guys are doing? All right. If this $5 super chat from Chad, thank you, buddy. He says, if you talk about a scary game like Sinistar, you should put your hands over your eyes and your eyeballs popping out. I'm Sinistar. I'm Sinistar. Is it doing it? I can't tell because I have my eyes closed. Are my eyes over my hands? I don't know. It's weird. Tell me if it's doing it. I obviously can't see it. So, what's up, VC? Fellow Arizonan. How you doing, man? Hey, man, I'm a good driver. I don't know what Stringer's talking about. He's talking smack. All right, let's go to another voicemail real quick. If you guys have a voicemail and you want to leave it, here's the information. I don't know. I didn't check to see if any new ones came through. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, there's some really cool things that there's this one. He's been doing this for years, but I just discovered it, and I want to talk to you about it. It has to do with Afterburner and Outrun, the originals, and it's really cool stuff. I want to tell you about it in a second. So we'll get to that in a minute. But let me, it only does it on one hand. Oh, is it this one? Oh, it kind of does it for like a second. Then it realized, see, the software doesn't work fast enough. Yeah, it's just a second. Wear the glasses with the eyeball lenses and see what happens. I don't have those, but if I did, I would do it. All right, let's go to the last voicemail I have. I only had a couple. These were from like weeks ago. Again, I have to tell you guys to do it. No one just does it. I'm surprised. If I had someone, I'm trying to think. If I had like someone that I watched that would allow me to leave voicemails, I would leave so many. I have left some for like a couple of podcast shows, but all right.
Hello. I'm calling for Retro Ralph. Yeah.
God.
My son bought a game from you and it ain't working right.
Okay.
There's something wrong with it. He ain't too smart, but he knows how to turn it on. It ain't turning on. So he's going to have to call you, or you're going to have to call me back. So
Okay.
get on it.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to call that guy back. I'm not sure what game I sold, but I'll have to do that. I'm feeling like maybe Stringer's the only one that calls his voicemail line. I mean, you guys feel free. I mean, because otherwise it's gonna basically be like Stringer voicemails over and over again. So, anyways. All right, DK Mikey's telling me, thank you for the super chat, Stringer. DK Mikey's talking about the tournament. He says, arcade tournament is a casual one this afternoon. Games like Galaga Burger Time. That's awesome. Stargate, Tetris, Tempest, and Dig Dug. That's killer, man. The one thing, hey, did you guys see? I didn't get a chance to look at it yet. So I guess Spooky released or is showing gameplay footage of Scooby-Doo. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. I have a hard time watching like a pinball live stream to get a good grasp at it of how the game works and the fundamentals of the game. The only person I think that does it like exceptionally well, and I've used his gameplay footage a lot, is Jack Danger, Dead Flip. Like I've seen, and actually Jeff does a really good job too, Arcade Hollywood. Like I think it's hard if you don't have the right rig set up. It's really hard to capture pinball in a way that's makes it interesting to the audience. You know, I mean, Jeff does crazy stuff. I still haven't asked him how he puts. I don't know. He puts like some kind of crazy camera in the in the pinball machine. I don't even know how he does that. Like I have absolutely no idea. So, but it's really cool. So there's lots of really cool ways to like make the footage more compelling when you're playing it. But I haven't had a chance to check that out yet. I'm not like, I mean, I loved Scooby-Doo as a kid, but I don't think, see, for me, if you're going to spend that kind of money on a pinball machine, it better be something or a theme that you just absolutely love, you know? Like the one game I've really fallen in love with lately, because Castles and Coasters did a whole upgrade of, I did a video on it. They did an upgrade of all of their pinball machines, and they have all these new pinball machines. The Godzilla pinball machine, the premium one with the tower, is so much fun. Like the music in it, the sound effects, like they did such a killer job on that. And it makes me wonder, like, did that game just end up being so good because they developed it during COVID and they were like, I don't know, just they had all the time in the world. It's a freaking great game. It's a freaking great game. I really, really love it. Yeah, Deadpool's awesome too. Yeah, Deadpool's a fun one too. But I love Godzilla. I really love it. Hey, Wicked Gamer and Collectors here. Hey, thank you for that. There's a video I'm going to do soon where there's an intro and I asked Wicked to do it and he did it for me. So thanks, buddy. I haven't talked to you in a while, man. It's been hard. I was just talking about that in the beginning of the stream. It's just been hard to manage time and stuff. Hey, JJ, how's it going, bud? Hope you're having a good morning. Oh yeah, so George got a chance to come to the Pinball Expo this year with us. You know, I asked him if he could go. I totally spaced out. I was like, oh crap, George lives around this area, so let me see if he can come. And he fell in love with the Deadpool machine. It's just fun, man. Pinball's one of those things. Man, I know that like not everyone's into pinball, but even if you just go find them, it's called Pinball. Go to this here. I'll share it real quick. I'm telling you, give pinball a chance if you like. Not to buy one. They're expensive to buy, man. I mean, like, honestly, like, I would not expect a lot of people, unless you want to buy them used, that's a whole other ball game that you might not want to get into, right? I mean, it takes a lot of effort to keep some of these older machines alive. And I don't know, to me, unless you really want to get into that, if it's just about gameplay, sorry, I'm trying to do something and multitask really quick. If it's just about gameplay, then there's plenty of places for you to do it. So check this out. So there's this website that you can go to called Pinball Map. And if you go to Pinball Map, this is something you should totally do. Like, go and check it out in your area, and it'll show you where there are machines in your area. Like, you can see there's a hotel here locally that has 3 machines, and it says exactly the machines they have. They have a Deadpool Pro, they have a Ghostbusters Pro, and a Monsters Pro. So, like, let's say you live in I don't know, let's say what do you want to do? Let's say we live in, I don't know, let's say Utah. So you hit Utah, hit update, and that's going to show me all of these places in Utah that have pinball machines. And it tells me exactly what they have. Believe it or not, the people that update this, like this, as soon as Castles and Coasters, and you can click on these individual dots, by the way, and it'll tell you where the location is and then what they have. Like this place has only one and it has a fun house, but it was updated June 8th, 2022. So like, you know what I'm saying? There's like some really cool ways to find pinball machines right near you. So like why I like pinball, I'll tell you why I've gotten it so into it and why it's exciting to me is that when you play with friends, it's just so fun. Like it's really competitive. You get like 2, even if it's just 2 of you, and you're going back and forth and you're just like, it's just, I don't know, there's something different about it. I'm not saying arcade games aren't fun. They are. Like, it's not, you know, it's not this or that, but there's just something really exciting about playing some of these games together with friends, and you're joking around and you're trying to beat each other's high score. It's just awesome. And you're teaching each other how to play. It's just one of those things. You gotta, if you haven't done it or haven't decided to go play, because even Rusty, I keep calling you Rusty, I'm gonna call it George. Even George is like, damn, man, like these games are fun. And they are. Stern's done a really good job, and some of the other manufacturers making very like compelling games. And I think the thing that's cool about it is, even though the new games aren't retro, pinball itself is still a very mechanical thing. So you're like, you've got a ball, you've got flippers. So and then you have the newer, the newer they're not DMDs anymore, but the newer LCD back display that has like video game elements to it and story pieces to it. So, and all of these games, the code is very advanced. Like you can play and just play without knowing how to proceed through the game, but the game has a progression to it. It's built with, a progression of how you get from point A to point B, or from the beginning to the end of the game and complete all the challenges. It's really cool. I really think it's something that if you're not really into it, you should give it a shot. And I think you'll find yourself enjoying pinball. Anyway, okay. Okay, we got something from Ralphie over here. It says, Rafa, do you want a free Data East cabinet to restore back to RoboCop? I have one, so I mean, sure, I'll take a cabinet, but I'm a little backed up on stuff, but I go in spurts with restoration stuff, right? Like I go in spurts. I'll do a bunch of work and then I'll leave it dormant for a while. Thing is, I have to be careful with that because the weather will start warming up here, and then it'll just be not very pleasant to be in the garage. And of course, this will be insert Stringer Films making fun of me about my garage being hot. But yeah. Anyways, let's see. Are there any more voicemails? But thank you for that. I do have a. I don't know if I remember telling you guys this, but I have a broken down Data East cabinet that is sitting in my storage unit, and it fell over in the U-Haul, and it had someone had converted it to an MK2. I sold the MK2 board. The monitor in it's actually pretty good, but the problem is the side of the cabinet completely separated from the cabinet. So you know how there's those, I don't know what they're actually called. They're not screws. They're like staples almost that you would put into like particle board to connect it. Those ripped completely out. I think I could probably cut those off and reattach the side. It's just a lot of work, and I mean, I'll eventually do it probably just to get it back. But I mean, it was already like a butchered cabinet, but I have a RoboCop board. I have like if I wanted to make it like a dual system, I have a RoboCop, I have a Bad Dudes, so I could put those two systems in it. I don't have a RoboCop 2. I liked RoboCop 1, I think, slightly better anyway, but sorry, SFGE is Southern Fried Gaming Expo. Oh, I think he's asking. Southern Fried Gaming Expo. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay. So there's a couple new voicemails here, so I'll play those. By the way, if there's any questions, you can put them in the chat and I'll get to it. Hey, Mike of all trades, how's it going, my friend? All right, let's see. I think I can't remember how these are put in the system, so let me see. This should be a new one.
Hello? Yes, I was calling. I'm calling about the game. It's not working. I tried fixing the back.
Get away from the game. Get away. Don't touch it. Don't touch the game.
I tried to fix the game. You totally call Ralph.
Get off the phone. Get off the damn phone. Get off the...
Oh, wow. All right, I don't know what's going on over there, but I swear to you guys, I didn't sell a game to that guy. I don't know what's going on. I didn't sell that game. So I didn't sell that. I don't know. This guy is kind of getting worried about this. I'm kind of getting worried about this, but I don't know. I'll try to follow up and see what's going on, but I'm a little concerned. All right, next voicemail.
Hey, Ralph. I don't know if I told you this, but after I saw your video on your channel, I bought a Zoltar machine. And I put it next to my bed. And at first, my wife wasn't crazy about this, that weird voice and everything next to the bed. But then I wished I was big. And she likes it now. So, thanks.
I need to have a disclaimer as to the rating of this show. I like that joke. It's a funny one. Oh my gosh. By the way, I really dig that Zoltar machine. So something I should have mentioned in the video, there's a really cool video out there. I don't know why I didn't put any of the footage in my video. It's so cool. There's a video where someone went to the company that manufactures the Zoltar machines, and it's really neat, actually. He makes other animatronic machines, but it's a very cool video about how he came up with a lot of the sayings on the cards and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And if you'd watched the movie Big, I should have also talked about this. The one in the movie Big is just kind of a mock. I believe the Zoltar original machine, it's based off the Zoltar original machine, but they called it Zoltan, I think, in the movie. And in the movie, it's very different. Like, you have these little cranks and you have to get the quarter into his mouth. That would probably be a lot harder to do. But I don't think they ever made that one. Although I think there's a video of someone reproducing the Zoltan machine, but that wasn't the one that you can buy. The Zoltar machine is the one you can buy. So anyways, but they go to that guy's shop and it's really cool. By the way, another person I wanted to give a quick shout out to is, there's a really cool video. So Rob Burke, he runs the Pinball Expo. So Rob Burke runs the Pinball Expo. His whole family's involved, and Jeff's been involved in Pinball Expo for a really long time. He actually he does a lot of work behind the scenes that you don't see. So props to Jeff for helping make that event amazing every year, and the whole Burke family. But Rob Burke has an amazing collection of video games and pinball machines, like out of control. I mean, I don't know. There might be a person with a bigger collection than him, but I'm so impressed by all the stuff that he has. So he's actually opening up, I think it's in, Jeff, maybe give me the details. I'm not sure exactly where all that stuff is located, but Jeff was able to get in before. So what he's going to do is he's going to open up an actual facility, which is somewhat of a museum. It's like it's a working museum, kind of like the one that was out in Banning, California. But you'll be able to play all the games. I don't know how often he's going to have it open, but this facility is super impressive. I mean, he has things that are super ultra rare. I mean, stuff you do not see. He's got one of the blaster machines in the Duramold. I don't know if you guys have watched this on the channel. I have a short. I'm infatuated with those Duramold cabinets. The reason why those Duramolds didn't really take off is because apparently when they would heat up, the monitor would get warm. The plastic wouldn't melt, but the plastic would sort of expand to a point where it would start to pop the monitor out of the front. So they just decided to discontinue the design. But I'd really love to get my hands on one of those. But right now they're just so expensive. There was a broken down beat ass one in California, but the guy wanted like $3,000 for it. And it didn't even have a board in it or anything. So yeah, there it is. I guess that's Girard, Ohio. Yeah, Pastimes Arcade. So I'm planning on, because of my new because of my new job allows me to travel around. So go check out that video on Jeff's channel, because he goes through it. It's awesome. He's got drone footage. It's kick-ass. It's total Jeff production, high production value, but go check it out. But I can't wait to go visit that place. I want to go with Jeff so him and I can geek out together. The funny thing about when Jeff and I get together is like, we transform into like these little kids, and it's really hard for us to focus on any one thing. And if you're trying to film with us, it's even more difficult because Jeff's going one way and I'm going the other way, and we eventually come together. I think that's what's exciting, is we both love this stuff so much, and hopefully that comes through in the video. But I really enjoy making videos with Jeff. We have to harness our energy. Hey Ralph, have you actually got to the last goal in Outrun 1 or 2 yet? I haven't actually ever. I don't think I've ever have. But here, speaking of Outrun, so this is really neat. I want to share this with you guys because I'm going to do a video on it eventually. It's not anything new, by the way. It's been around for a little while. But what this is I loaded this on so I burnt the ROMs for these. Now, keep in mind, I will not share the ROMs with people because I want the guy that created them to be, to get a little bit of compensation for his work. So what he has is he created two with a group of people, and these have been out, I think, since like 2016 or 2017. There's an Outrun Enhanced and an Afterburner Enhanced. I loaded the Afterburner Enhanced to mine. So they decided to create this for the 30th anniversary, which I think was around 2017. And it's got a bunch of things in it. So it's got stage select. So when you first start the game, you can select any stage you want. So you don't have to, which is cool for at-home use, right? That was the purpose. There's two new audio tracks that were from the original producer of the audio tracks. They just were dropped from the original game. You can do high score saving. There's a high score save table. These Sega games, especially this one, did not have a free play mode, so it adds free play mode. You can select you can change the dip switches in software, so you don't have to open up the cage and go in there every time. And there's new attract mode sound options that weren't in the original. So it was really cool to see people doing this kind of thing. I have loaded this one. The one I haven't done yet is the Outrun Enhanced. The Outrun Enhanced has some really cool stuff. Like there's some new audio tracks in the Outrun Enhanced. There's a best time record that you now have. It's pretty cool. There's a bunch of new things. They enhance the track. So I'm going to go and burn these. So basically how you get access to this is you complete this form. He wants you to donate the money. It's not to him, actually. It's to a charity. So if you click on this, it's a brain tumor charity, I believe. So I gave a little bit. See, I gave $50 here, and then I gave another 25. for his work, you know, and I would encourage that. I do not want to share the ROMs. It's the last thing I would want to do is have people go out there and share these ROMs, and then he's not raising money for his charity. It's not going to him. It's going to this brain tumor charity. So that's pretty neat. But basically what you do is you burn the new ROMs. So these, you know, if you're not familiar with it, this is an EEPROM, right? It's a programmable ROM. And you got this little window in here that shows you the cell, right? Normally this is covered by a piece of like, hold on, I'll show you. So this one's for Smash TV. So you'll see this is the same. I don't know if you can see. It's not gonna. Oh, it's gonna put my eye on it. Yeah, this software is gonna screw with this. Anyways, so typically the window to reprogram these is covered, right? Because what you do is you put this into this device. It's an eraser device. I'm not gonna be able to grab it. Let's see. So this thing erases EEPROMs. It's a little shelf, and inside UV light shines into this window. So you can't erase a reprogrammable ROM if the sticker's over it, because you need to shine UV light into this window. You do it for about 10, 15 minutes and it will erase this. Then you can put this into a programmer and reprogram the game code to the new game code they provide. And there's instructions that tell you exactly, well, they don't tell you exactly how to burn these. It takes a little bit of trial and error. I wasn't very good at first. A lot of them were failing. And then I finally realized you have to be, it's very particular. Like there's different ROM types too. We'll get into that in maybe an episode or something. And so you have to make sure you're using the right ROM type. Like Afterburner was actually pretty anal about what kind of ROMs you need to use for it. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do that. It's kind of like, you know, breathing new life into an old game, which I think is really cool. But anyway, I mean, I know this is like old school stuff, but I find this stuff really fun. You know what I mean? Learning something new. And believe me, I'm not an expert at this by any stretch of the imagination. I've just started burning ROMs like maybe a year ago. But it's a lot of fun to do. And there's a lot of ROM updates out there where you can do that. The other cool thing is if you, oh really? I put them in for about 15 minutes and they usually work fine, but I guess 30 would be on the safer side. But yeah, so there's a lot of cool, like, and the other cool thing is if, you know, let's say you buy a new machine and you boot it up and, you know, when you boot up an arcade machine, typically you'll see that screen that it's testing all the ROM chips. If you have a bad ROM chip, like that doesn't mean that board is dead. It just means you need to burn, you know, if the chip is bad, you can burn a new chip. But, you know, there's a learning curve into learning how to do this. I thought I'd try to make like a very, very, very dumbed down version because I kind of didn't really ask anybody. I should have asked Arcade Hollywood for help and I never did. I probably should have because I'm sure he knows it, you know, cold, but I kind of learned it trial and error. I learned how to do it. Sometimes I'm stubborn like that though. I want to learn without someone telling me and I want to go through the issues to figure out what it is. Like there was an issue I ran into with this one. I'll get into it in the video. And it was a stupid mistake on my part, but anyway. So yeah. It is tedious to do to Stringer's point. It's kind of tedious. It takes especially a long time if you're dealing with a game that has a lot of ROMs on it, like a game like Narc. Like Narc has a ton of ROMs. If you open up the door, it's like filled with ROM chips. That would take a long time, especially if you had to reburn. If you were using the original chips and you were going to erase them, think about it, right? You can only fit like maybe like 5 or 6 chips in this little drawer thing. So that's a half an hour or 15 minutes or so for each one. The cool thing is the software that burns this thing right here. I don't know if you can see it. This thing, it once you erase your ROMs, you can put it in there and then you can read the ROM chip and you can see whether it's been fully erased. You can even validate that it's been erased. But I've had times where I haven't put it in the little, I call it the oven. I haven't put it in the oven long enough and it's not fully erased. So anyways. Yeah, most of them are socketed so you can replace them. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, it's kind of like one of those things. It's getting into the super geeky, the super geek avenue down the hobby, but it's fun. It's fun to do. I mean, it's fun to fix your own stuff, right? When you know how to do it. Rusty said, is they easy to program? They weren't at first because I didn't know how to do it. You know what I mean? But they can be easy and it can be difficult. It depends. Like the one that really stumped me was, and I'll stop this topic in a minute because I know it can kind of get a little down in the weeds. But there was a game called Thunderblade, and Sega made Thunderblade. And why Thunderblade tripped me up is that, let me see if I can do this. So on Thunderblade, you have this processor on Thunderblade, and inside it is a battery, and it holds like a security key. And so as soon as this, believe it or not, if you have I think it's Sega 16 boards, there's other boards too that will have this Hitachi chip on it. They're not always Hitachi. Sometimes they're branded differently. If this dies, if the battery in this dies, this was supposed to be one of those things where it was, I don't know, I guess Sega did this for security purposes. But if this dies, your board will not work. You'll power it up, it won't work. The only way to recover it is to replace this. So you got to replace this processor, and then you have to put unencrypted ROM files. And this tripped me up, but there's a cool website. So I didn't know anything about this, but there's a website called, so keep in mind, this is actually good information if you ever go down this path of buying a Sega game. There's a website called Sega Resurrection. Not Sega Erection, by the way. Sega Resurrection, for those that are being naughty. So the cool thing about this website is you can go here and it will tell you about all the games that are affected by this problem. So it says, what games can I resurrect? And it has them all right here. And it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Now, this guy right here, if you tell him, it basically tells you what information to give him. He'll do it for you if you want. Actually, one of the cool things about this is he will do it for you, or you can do it on your own. But these are all the games that could potentially die because of that issue with the security chip. So kind of cool. But just know, like, a lot of Sega games are affected by this. So you got all the Sega 16 games are right here, like Shinobi, Tetris, Alien Syndrome, Golden Axe, right? Golden Axe, it can happen to that. Now, the interesting thing is, the craziest thing about this is a lot of these games, that battery must still have enough juice in it that they're still working. It's crazy, right? Like, the fact that some of these still work and no one ever did the modification to it is nuts. That means that little battery has enough juice still in it that when the system's powered down, it's doing whatever. I don't know all the technical details of it, but it's keeping the chip alive enough that it doesn't actually ever lose power. Because as soon as it does, the board is dead. It's really interesting, actually. Someone asked what programmer I use. I'm using the GQ 4x4, this one right here. And it comes with an adapter too. So you get this, and sometimes you need these adapters for different chips. And the cool thing is the software will tell you when you need to use this. So it's not completely leaving you in the dark. And then the chip puller that I like to use is this one. You can use this like something else, but I like this one. It doesn't work for everything because it's not wide enough, but I like this one because you get an even grip on it. You can pull it out real easy. Anyway, all right, we'll get off that. That topic's real geeky. Okay. Is Thunderblade the adult arcade you're selling? No. Thank you for the super chat. All right. Ralph, do you have an NBA Jam, and have you heard about the new ROM that includes... Actually, Stringer has done this. I don't have an NBA Jam any longer. I sold it to Captain Retro, who then sold it to the Atlanta... Oh, shit. I don't even know. Is it Atlanta Hawks? I don't really follow basketball anymore. I'm a football guy. I think it's the Hawks, though. Atlanta Hawks. Yeah. He sold it to the Atlanta Hawks. Sorry. So, which is really cool. So the Atlanta Hawks have the NBA Jam I showcased on my channel, which is pretty cool. But so I don't have it, but I know Stringer did that update. I haven't had a chance to do it. Now I'm kind of regretting that I sold it. Any more voicemails? Is it appropriate though? If it's not, thank you for the super chat. Is it appropriate? If so, I'll watch it. All right, let's see. Years ago, when I started collecting Sega Genesis games, I couldn't figure out why some of the games wouldn't play on my aftermarket console. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to highlight some of the other people that are in the chat here. All right, they're often socketed, so you can swap them out. Yep, I already got that one. Gotta head out now. See you, DK Mikey. Have a good one, man. Team Pandora must be saying something interesting in there. Everyone's saying I agree. Let's see. Do a live show and play Outrun Enhanced until you get to the finish line. Get them coffees ready. Dude, I don't even know if I will. That's the thing. I don't even know if I will. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that one time. So I will play it under emulation probably for something like that, even though Obviously I don't want to give them out though. I feel like that's unfair to the people that worked on it. So I hopefully you guys understand that no one has ever leaked those out. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, yeah, sure, it's not Sega sanctioned, and he talks about that in the manual, but the fact that these guys did all this work, I think if it's the least you could do, you only have to give $1 to his charity to get the ROM. So, I gave a little bit more because I appreciate what they do. Arcade Hollywood said, I feel that doing this kind of stuff will keep our hobby alive. Yeah, I hope so too, man. Jeff and I really want to have Jeff on to talk about the future of the hobby, because sometimes it feels like maybe people care less about the original machines. And I know it's a lot of work and it's not for everyone. Like I was reading some posts the other day where someone's like, oh man, I replaced all my original machines. It's such a pain in the ass to keep them running. I mean, it is a pain in the ass to keep them running. But if you enjoy that stuff, like, I think a lot of the people that originally watched my YouTube channel were really into the modding aspects of it. They just like to tinker with stuff. And that was kind of the appeal. It wasn't really about the arcade one-up part of it. It was about tinkering with things and making something new or different out of something else. And I think that's what, if you enjoy that, then I do truly believe you would enjoy the hobby of the antique or coin-op arcade games. Like you really would like it, because there's lots of tinkering and you're always learning something new. I think the only thing that really can get annoying at times is if you buy a machine. I'll just say this. If you buy a machine and it is working, the monitor is working, I would recap it and put a new flyback on it, even though there's nothing wrong with it. Because the thing that sucks the most is when your monitor dies because you didn't do routine maintenance on it. That's when the troubleshooting becomes a lot more difficult. And I'm not good with I don't even know how to use an oscilloscope or how to do deep troubleshooting, but I do know how to do routine maintenance stuff. So that's what I try to do. I try to keep all of it modernized. That way, if I put new parts in it, the likelihood of it dying is probably low. The other thing that I think is really good is if you have a tube rejuvenator, a lot of times you think there's other things wrong and it'll be like the blue gun or the red gun or the green gun need to be rejuvenated. And granted, that does strip away the life of it. The thing is, I'm not running them every day. You know what I mean? So if that thing would only run for another year of constantly being on, that could mean 12 years for me. You know what I mean? So just kind of put that into perspective. But yeah, there's a lot of maintenance. That's exactly what I would call it. I'd call it Dreamcast Kyle makes a good point. I'd call it preventative maintenance. You know what I mean? Even though it doesn't need it, if you do it, because all it takes is a couple components dying, then all of a sudden the flyback blows out, and then when that happens, maybe the fuse blows, but before that it ruins other components, and now you're trying to troubleshoot a lot of things. And there's a lot of good resources for that. That's where I get the most frustrated, because I'm not an electronics engineer, and a lot of that stuff I struggle with. But the cool thing is if you really don't know, or if you really struggle with it, there are companies where you can send your chassis to them and they'll repair it. I've used those services a couple times because there was one that I just couldn't fix. I couldn't figure it out, and I felt like I was getting frustrated, and so I sent it away. So that could have been a learning experience for me, but I did kind of give up on that one. I'm like, look, man, I just want to send it away because I want to enjoy the game. All right, let's switch gears. Okay, Ralph, as a retro snob, have you played GoldenEye 007? I haven't yet. But I want to. So I remember. So the thing about GoldenEye that's interesting is I played it more with friends in the multi-screen mode, than I did the original campaign mode. And my motivation to want to play it is to see how far I can even get. Because I don't really remember getting very far. I had it as a kid. I probably wasn't a kid anymore. I was probably I'm trying to think of what age I would have been when GoldenEye came out. Because I worked at a place called Olympia Sports, and we used to go to this guy, Ryan Jabot's house, and we'd play the crap out of it. It was pretty cool. When I kind of think about it, we weren't really bad kids. Because we could have been getting into a lot of trouble. We just kind of go to his house and we'd play NFL Blitz and GoldenEye and Wave Race and games on his N64. We never really did anything bad, which is good, right? I think video games kept us from doing bad things. But I never really played very far through it, I don't think. Because I was watching some gameplay of it the other day, yesterday, and I'm like, shit, I'd never even seen this level before. So I think it takes 8 or 9 hours to complete. So I'm definitely going to check that out. So Mike, thanks for the tip on that. The one thing I did hear that I heard the controller mapping's a little goofy. So I'll have to check that out. Oh, you're going to stream 007? Oh, that'd be cool, man. Are you going to do it today? That'd be cool, dude. Yeah, I'll definitely try to jump on if I can. You have Olympia Sports in your town? Really? Yeah, that's where that was like my first job. Well, it was my first official job. It was my first like job where I was like, I remember you could work there with working papers. So I remember my mom would drive me there, but I couldn't stay as late as so the mall would close and then we'd do like cleanup of the store and I could only stay for like a certain amount of time. And then I remember my mom picking me up because I couldn't stay the whole time because of like my work, because I lived in Rhode Island. I had working papers in like Massachusetts or I can't remember how it worked, but yeah, I couldn't stay the whole time. And I remember my mom picking me up. I didn't drive then, but I still worked there through high school when I did drive. I was a footwear specialist. So you came to me for footwear. It was amazing. I'll tell you something crazy. So I used to have people come in when like the new Jordans or something would come out. I'd have people come in and be like, I want to buy every size of your Jordans. Now if you talk to them for a long enough amount of time, they were sending them overseas. I think back then, maybe they didn't police this kind of stuff as much. I'm sure it happens still to this day, but I'd be back there. I'd be like, wait a minute, what do you mean? I was like, so what size do you want to try on? They'd be like, I want every one. And I think for a little while we were letting people do that, but it used to piss people off so bad because we'd get like the local kids from that mall was in North Attleboro. So we'd get like some North Attleboro basketball player that was part of that team. And he'd be like, hey, I want the new Jordans. I'd be like, yeah, you missed it. Some guy just bought every single pair. And then I think we stopped doing that. Like it was 2 per customer or something. But back then you could buy the whole entire thing. It was kind of crazy. Like people would literally buy all of them. Yeah, it was in the Emerald Square Mall. Yeah, that's exactly where I worked, in the Emerald Square Mall. I miss malls, man. I remember we'd go to this place called Gloria Jean's Coffee or something, and I'd get this thing called the Chocolate Turtle, which was basically like coffee with a shit ton of chocolate in it, and like it wasn't even coffee. I mean, yeah, sure, it probably had coffee in it, but it was like, it's just funny, man. When you're like that age, you can drink that stuff. You don't gain any weight. You know what I mean? It'd be like, we were also really active back then, but it was just like, I miss just being able to be a human dumpster and just eat everything. I think sometimes I still think I'm like a teenager because I'll eat like my son's candy and stuff. Dude, Reebok pumps were badass. So this actually upset me. I had a Reebok pump display. So this was the cool thing about working at the sports store. We could take the displays home. Now, we used to fight about what displays we'd get, but there was a Reebok pump Shaq display, and I wanted it so bad. And my manager at the time, her name was Marianne. I can't remember her last name, but I probably shouldn't say her last name anyway. But her name was Marianne, and she's like, Ralph, do you want the Shaq display? And it came with the shoe. Shoe was freaking huge. I don't remember his size shoe. I'm like, I was such a basketball fan, although I was a Shaquille O'Neal fan, but I was a Chicago Bulls fan. So whatever. There was some conflict of interest there in my own head, but I'm like, dude, who wouldn't want to have, and I had in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to put it behind my bed. It's going to be badass. It was this big thing with a plastic tray with his shoe on it. And it was like, we had like a security wire holding the shoe to the thing. I was like, I have to have it. And my mom threw it away, man. My mom threw that away. It sucks so bad that my mom threw that away. Oh, man. I don't know. It sucks. All right, what did Stringer say? I hear Billy Mitchell wears Reebok pumps. He did. The funny thing is Billy Mitchell was in my bedroom at Southern Fried Gaming Expo. It was crazy. I can't believe he was in my bedroom. What a weird... If you haven't seen that, he's in the video. You can see him right there, clear as day, just chilling in my bedroom waiting for me. It's weird. All right, guys. Well, we're coming up on the hour. I gotta go. We're actually going out for my mother-in-law's birthday. So it's her birthday. So happy birthday to my mother-in-law. It was her birthday on Friday, I think. But we're gonna go out this morning. We're gonna go to this place called. It's like this breakfast place that supposedly has like all this crazy food, and yeah. I've been gaining a lot of weight lately, so I'm at the point. You know when people say they have the F-its? What sounded weird? What did I say that sounded weird? Oh, because I said E. Oh God, no, Rich Odello, no. Oh man, what the hell? Sometimes we put words together that are weird. Anyways, we're going to have breakfast. Oh, the Billy Mitchell in the bedroom part. Well, he was. Watch the video. He was in my bedroom. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know what he was doing there. All right, Stringer, I'm gonna have to get to him next time. I'll save him for next time because no one leaves me voicemails but you. So I'll save him for next one. I'll try to do a show on I'll try to do a show maybe next week if I can. All right, guys. I thank you so much for joining. This is a fun show. It was an impromptu thing. We just kind of slapped it together, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to you guys. I always do, and I miss it, to be honest. But you know, we'll do them when we can. Thank you guys for everything, and we will see you. The next one.